Hi guys, welcome to Studio Time with DBush Beats. Let me play two examples of vocals that I have and see if you can hear the difference.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. It was your baby, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Girl, I know. Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. It was your baby, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Girl, I know.
Could you hear what the difference was? Compression. The first vocal that I played for you was uncompressed, like you will hear if you're standing in front of the singer. The second example is same vocal, but heavily compressed. Two most important processors that sound engineers use are the EQ that we talked in our last video and the compressor, which I'm going to talk to you in this series. Think of how a singer performs a song. Sometimes they can be really loud and sometimes they can be really soft. When you mix the singer with other musical instruments, it can be tasking to hear the loud and the soft parts equally. If you turn up the volume to hear the soft parts, the loud parts becomes even more louder. Likewise, if you turn the volume down, you won't be able to hear the soft parts. If you've ever been to a concert and having difficulties hearing the singer, this is where the compressor comes in to save the day. A compressor will take the loudest part of the signal and lower them in a very pleasing way without loading the entire signal, just like adjusting the volume would. It only lowers the part of the signal that is too loud, and you decide what too loud is by setting your threshold. Anything below the threshold stays unprocessed. Again, you get to decide how much you want to compress the loud parts by adjusting something called the ratio. I have a vocal track from a song of mine called Sugar Baby. I'm going to open a compressor called Pro C2 by Far Filter so we can even out the level of the vocal. This is a natural vocal. First, we're going to decide how much we want to lower the loudest part of the vocal by using a knob called the ratio. Then we'll set the threshold to the point where the compressor will start working.
Buy you expensive things. Girl, I know I need to buy you the thing that you desire. Your friends keep telling you I'm not good enough for you, baby.
We have to set the threshold to the point whereby we'll start seeing some gain reduction on this meter right here. And we are not going to pass minus 6 dB on gain reduction. Remember, if your threshold is set to 0, your compressor is not going to work. Your compressor will only work when you set the threshold to the point whereby the compressor will start kicking in. So if I dial to the left, this point shows me the point whereby the compressor is taking out the loudest peaks. And on the meter right here, while I'm playing the vocal, you're going to see the wave of the vocal on this compressor. This is the wave of the compressor. And this line right here is the threshold. So I'm taking it up to the loudest part of the vocal. You can see this loudest part is what we're chopping off in order to allow the lowest parts to be heard. Alright, let's go on. If you set your threshold to 0, it means your compressor will not work and your vocal signal will pass unprocessed. So on the compressor, you can see the wave. So I have to take the compressor down, and this line over here is telling me the level of compression that we are applying to the vocal. So whenever this line gets to the vocal, you are going to see a gain reduction, and which is telling us the amount of decibels that we are taking out from the high peaks of the vocal. So I'm taking it down. This line is showing me the levels of the vocal, and this lowest part right here is showing us lowest part of the vocal. So basically, we're trimming off the high part of the vocal where I was singing very loud in order to have a consistency with the lowest part of the vocals. The more you lower the threshold, the sooner it will kick in. Remember, you're not lowering the entire signal, but the part that crosses the threshold. And this line right here is the threshold. Another thing to keep in mind is the makeup gain, where the amount of level you need to add to the entire track after compressing. If you are compressing the loudest part of the vocal to sound same with the lowest part of the vocal, in the end, it's going to make the entire signal to sound low. Having trimmed the signal, you have to make up for the signal that is lost. Here is the original track, an unprocessed waveform of the vocal track. See how there's a big difference between the loudest and the softest part? Look at our vocal after we have applied compression. There is less of a difference between the loudest and the softest parts. Finally, here is how it looks like after we have applied some makeup gain. Now that you know how a compressor works, let's talk about why we use compressor. The main reason why we use compressor, number one, is to even out the level of your track. Compressing a track sounds very different from increasing or lowering the volume of your track. Number two, brings out the sound. A compressor brings out the details of a sound that gives life to it, more energy, as we commonly say, punch to your track. A compressed sound punches through the mix better and cuts through the rest of the instruments. Let's listen to a few examples. Let's hear what I'm talking about. Finally, let's listen to the difference between these two sounds in the full mix. That's where the context matters the most.
Expensive things, girl, I know I need to buy you the thing that you desire. Your friends keep telling you I'm not good enough for you, baby, my boo, my boo. I the hustle, I the grind, I the try for you, my baby. Baby, don't leave me behind, cause the stress will make me crazy. I do everything that I can to be your man. Do not let these jealous people try to tear us apart. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. They wish you, baby, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Girl, I know I need to buy you expensive things. Girl, I know I need to buy you the thing that you desire. Your friends keep telling you I'm not good enough for you, baby, my boo, my boo. I the hustle, I the grind, I the try for you, my baby. Baby, don't leave me behind, cause the stress will make me crazy. I do everything that I can to be your man. Do not let these jealous people try to tear us apart.
Compressor is a very used tool for any great mix, and knowing how to use it properly will help your mix tremendously. There's also a lot more to learn, such as attack, release, sidechain, which is best for another episode, and also choosing the different types of compressors, which I made a video on. In the meantime, if you want to learn more about compression, music production in general, as well as getting your tracks professionally produced, mixed and mastered, you can hit me up via the social media handles in the description box. And of course, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more studio time with DBush Beats.